And now welcome back home. So we already add all this CSS to our card. But what if we want to change the font? Now what we go discuss for this video. So we go see how we go fit import from Google and how we go fit run our own font family local for inside this our card where we add so we say we want to change this one and we want to change this one. So for inside here now, so we're gonna go this site fonts.google.com. Fonts, not be fronto with R, now fonts without the R. So you go fonts.google.com. If you go to the site, you go get any fonts where they find. They get many fonts here. They get different types here. If you search for them for here, and you go get any fonts where they find for here. Then another thing if you do, now say if you change the kind of font where they find. So if you change the category of the font where they find, if you change the language where you want to find for the fonts, if you also change the font properties, say if you want to make it thick, make it slant, make it wide, all those things, you go fit change them for here. So play around with them, make you just see different fonts and know the popular fonts like this Roboto and so forth. And I arrange fonts for now. We'll go use add to this our own. So I go drop link. If you click on that link, the link will carry you come this side and it will show you the fonts where if you add and everything for it. So if you just do them together, if you don't know what I did do. So if we come here inside this font, you can click say you want download all. Now we go download all so that we go fit add them to our website here. We go fit add them to our code for inside this our file structure. Then we go fit see how we go fit structure fonts for our web page or card where we work on. So we go click download all. Now it will download the fonts for me. As you don't download all the fonts for me, we will come go where the fonts day. So right now the fonts day located in my desktop. I can open up my desktop. You can see the fonts there. So if I say, okay, now this font, I want carry them, I want extract them because it's saying a zip file back, now .zip. So we're gonna need to extract this file. So I can just right click and click extract. If you don't see them for my screen, but I don't extract them, which is this file for here. So this folder for here. So this folder, now the two fonts. We could enter the folder, then make we go Poet 1. So this Poet 1, make we take the regular font where we get, which is usually all they have. We could just come this font, then we'll see inside our VS Code. Now, make we go our VS Code, and then I go like make we drop the file inside VS Code. But before we do that, make we first create a folder inside VS Code. We just name this folder fonts. So as you don't name our fonts, that's all. You don't turn folder. Now make we drag the file from here where we don't get this font file, and make we put them inside our VS Code. So I go drag them and I put them for inside the font. You see, say the font don't they highlighted, and they go drop them there. You go know say they inside the font. Now make we add the remaining way we need. Go back. We'll add the Montserrat font, and then for inside this Montserrat font, enter static because you get many here. So if you install any of these fonts for your machine locally, but if people don't get them for their machine, it no go work. That's why we won't put the font for here. So make we just take only the regular, and make we just put only the regular of Montserrat inside here. All right. Now make we close this one, and for inside our VS Code, close this. Make we close this. And then now we get our fonts. So we get these two font files, .ttfs, inside our fonts, right? Inside our fonts folder. So now when we don't import the fonts here for inside our project, make we go back inside the CSS. So for inside our CSS file, we want to use the font face. So right here for the top, for the highest part of our code, I could just go there. Then go say at font dash face. All right. As you look down, we'll do our curly brace again. Then we'll come say we want to add a font family. So we'll say font family. Because now here we declare, that now the property, we declare the font family name. So we fit give them any name when we want. So let me just say text font. So now as we don't add this text font, we fit now import the font where we want. So which font we want? We want to add the SRC. So we'll say we want the source. As we don't add the source, we can say we want to decide where we go get the font from. So where we fit add this font now, we fit reference them by URL. Therefore, inside this URL, we'll come put our quotes there, single quotes, and then inside here we go drop the path for the file. So where the file day? Well, the file day our /fonts, right? And now here we go come get the fonts where we define. So which one we want? We want make it be all the text, make it always be Montserrat. So if you say, okay, give us Montserrat for fonts, give this Montserrat.ttf, you must make sure so you add the extension file name. If you don't add that, it will work. So now we don't add the path to our file, the next thing we will need to do now to say, okay, we want to change the font to whatever name we add for here. So if you say, since we call them text fonts, make we go inside our body, and then we will change the font family for here to, we can say we want text font. And now, if I save the code now, and then we go back inside our browser, you can see all the text, it don't change to text font. If I come on this font family here, make we just come out down, press save, you can see it don't work number one. But make we add the fallback, so we'll say text font, and then you see comma, and then you say sans serif. So now, even if this text fonts no dey there again, sans serif go fire enter, because most browsers they always get sans serif. If not all browsers, they get this default sans serif. So we go use our font. If our font no dey work down at this text font for here, then it go change to sans serif. So I could just copy this one, and then we'll go to the next line, and then we'll go paste them inside here. So as I don't paste them, for inside here, we could change this to the title we will define. So which title we define? We defined heading font. So this heading font now, mind you, if you name them anything. So this heading font, I could just quickly add the file for here, which now the second file we define, which now Pirate1. So I will press on, and then we go say we want to change this heading to Pirate1. So I could go our heading, only this heading, this H1. Now I go change. It will only affect this one. So I could just say one font family of heading font, and then I could just set info back for now. So if I change them, make I check the fallback for here. So you can say the fallback now comma receive. And if I save them and go back our example here, come on this one, save them. You see say now cursive text with this. So if I put them back, say I want our heading font, it will change to this font again. So whenever this font's not available, now there you go make this one as fallback. If you add as many as you want, nobody go disturb you. So now we don't add our two fonts, but we don't add a local. We don't add a local for here, which is not bad. But what if we want add a quick, easy? Now that way I will show now the best way. So make I just comment this ones out. Make we comment all the other ones out, right? So I'll comment that body, and I will comment this one. So remember, say we don't get any font family again for here. So what again we need to do? Well, we could just go back our Google. So Google give us this code. Say make we copy this code, make we put down for our HTML code, and it will help us import the file. So if you come here, if we add them for here under the head, it will just add them say we want script tags, and it will don't help us arrange everything. All the imports go into this one file. As you don't add them, then we just come our font family, and then we just say okay, we want copy this text from our font family, and one set our font family for the body now. One set our font family for the body for here. Yes, so we'll say font family Montserrat. So we'll say Montserrat. And we don't set this Montserrat. If we save them, come back here, you'll see say our font family, it don't change. Right? So make we copy the other font, like you see, and then comma, and then we'll just say sans serif. And it don't help us add our fallback. So make we see the next one we need. We need this Pirate1. And Pirate1, we add them for here. So we just say we want for our H1 a font family of Pirate1. So make I just go to the next line and paste that code there. If we come back here, we can say it don't work as we need. So which other way if you see add them? Well, if you see use this one, the link. But if I use this import, I always like add this import for inside my CSS. So I could just clean this out and then cut that. And for inside my CSS file, now here I go come add the file right at the very top of everything also. I will just add them there and press save. And now the code still they work as the same because we they work with our CSS for this file. So no other important thing where we need to do here. You will also still use the link. Come into our HTML, then you go come into the head. For inside the head tags, now there you go come add your code. So what I will do say, I could just like come down and paste that there. So just before we add our style CSS, now there I go like import them, and then make I come here into our CSS, make we just remove this code for here, press save. If we still look the preview, it still they work the same because we don't already import the font families for inside here. So we don't see how we fit add fonts locally and how we fit use fonts from an external source, or how we fit use fonts from Google. But for now, that's all we need to learn. I will see you now for the next video. Thank you.